we have next the phenomenon as a driver of evolutionary psychological development, a presentation from Matthew Roberts. He is a former naval intelligence analyst, author of the book Initiated, which is a great book, and an experiencer who has worked hard to deliver a positive message about contact experiences and what they may tell us about the human psyche. He was on board the USS Theodore Roosevelt during the Gimbal event, and he is a good man. Welcome, Matthew. You're muted here. There you go.
Thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate it, and thank you for your participation in all things phenomenological. I also want to start my remarks with a huge thanks to Dr. Kimberly Engels, Dr. Jeff Kripal, the folks at the John Mack Institute and Rice University's Archives of the Impossible, and everyone that has made this symposium possible. Further, I would like to thank all of these folks for their relentless pursuit of this topic, because I believe that there's no other academic pursuit in our time that is more worthy of our time, our attention, and our contemplation in this very topic. So thank you to all of you guys. I want you to understand that what I'm going to give a talk here, it's like a 10,000 foot view of my experiences and how I interpret them. And so there's a lot of nuance in here that I won't have time for. But here we go. So when I wrote my first book, Initiated, there were a lot of people who didn't take it seriously just based on the title alone. So I wanted to kind of explain what I meant in giving the book that title. When most people think of initiatory experience, they think of initiations into fraternities and sororities and the like, thereby reducing initiatory experience to something simple, shallow, stupid, and with no actual meaning or function, rather than recognizing initiatory experiences deeply transformative and central to human psychological growth and evolutionary development. Many of us describe contact experiences with the phenomenon as high strangeness because we kind of lack this more cohesive framework in which to understand these experiences. Many questions arise from the idea of the phenomenon as a very human experience. And the answers to those questions lie squarely within the discipline of the humanities and not the hard sciences. The hard sciences have very little to say about human experience, but the humanities as an academic discipline set out to study, interpret, and make sense of the human experience. To kind of illustrate the divide that takes place between the hard sciences and the humanities, I was watching an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson the other day on MS Now. And he was describing how aliens would make first contact. First contact. And he stated that an alien species would likely use some kind of universal language to communicate, something like physics or mathematics. And I think that this is a perfectly suitable thought for an astrophysicist to have, right? To him, these are very primary and universal languages that you can use to describe the universe. The humanities, however, have long reported, and the sciences are beginning to catch up to the idea that consciousness is primary within the universe. Consciousness being the most primary and basic constant, it would make sense that any sufficiently advanced species would approach us psychologically through experience rather than mathematically. In a universe where consciousness is primary, an initiatory experience would be the most efficient means of teaching and conveying information. A civilization that prizes the hard sciences over human experience is one that is destined to fail. Such civilizations will always fail, which I believe is kind of the the lesson in the newly released movie Disclosure Day. The hard sciences don't account for the reality of a conscious universe where consciousness is primary, and thereby become a very cold and nihilistic pursuit. Today, we live in such a civilization. Today, we no longer weigh human experience in making decisions. Instead, we consult the numbers. In deciding whether grandma receives care, the health insurance companies look to the bottom line rather than at grandma. We consult the numbers and we reject the wisdom of the humanities. The rejection of the humanities and the laser focus on STEM has come at a steep price tag, as we can see in our current state of affairs. The rejection of the humanities has been so complete that there are scarcely any people who are actually capable of appropriately teaching the humanities. This fact became painfully obvious to me when I watched a series of recorded lectures on Plato's Republic. The lectures were offered to the public at an Ivy League university via YouTube. Um, to watch such a brilliant work reduced to such a small, anthropomorphic, insignificant, simple, and stupid interpretation was shocking, embarrassing, and infuriating all at once. Since the humanities are so completely destroyed, we no longer recognize the very obvious and central role that initiatory experience plays in human life. Ancient cultures all over the world recognized the importance of initiatory experience, and they made space for it within their civilization. Today, when we think of learning, we automatically think of a classroom environment, but while also dismissing the vast amount of learning that takes place outside of the classroom. This knowledge we gain outside of the classroom is often simply described as growing up. We don't think of it in terms of knowledge at all, or initiatory experience for that matter. In a universe where consciousness is primary, the initiatory experience becomes the central becomes central to human development, and the humanities become the mechanism by which we can study that. In terms of human development and learning, it's recognized that humans learn in phases as they develop physically and grow psychologically. These phases are marked by initiatory experience and transitioning between these phases. We have infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. Within each of these phases, as one progresses, there are vast shifts in awareness of the world around you and a proportional expanse of the perception of reality. At each of these initiatory phases, the old perception is dismantled and a new perception begins to take shape. With that also comes a dismantling of hierarchical values by which one leads their life. Those values are deconstructed and then reconstructed with a new set of hierarchical values. Sorry. In antiquity, humans made space for these shifts. They recognized that it was incredibly destabilizing to have a 30-year-old man-child wreaking havoc on society. They knew that it would be incredibly destabilizing to have an 80-year-old man-child as a leader. So making space for these changes and shifts through rites of passage ensured that most people were shepherded through these developmental phases and weren't left to wither on the vine, rotting human civilization from the inside out. Initiatory experience and rites of passage, therefore, were a stabilizing effect on civilization. At each stage of human development, you take cues from those around you who demonstrate life at the next level through experience and psychological modeling. Others will show you the truths of what is expected of you at the next level. As one begins to accept these truths, the psychological dismantling and reconstruction begins to take place. Some may not make it to the next level, which is something that is painfully obvious in our civilization today. There are many people who refuse these truths on the next level and therefore spend their entire lives resisting it and fighting against it. We see these kinds of people every day. They're incapable of admitting their perceptions were ever wrong or incorrect, despite any evidence to the contrary. NHI, being aware that humans grow and develop in this way, follow the same roadmap. So the phenomenon teaches us not in a classroom setting with mathematics, but rather it teaches us in the same way that life teaches us, through initiatory experience that allows for growth and development. With them, we are led through the experience of a conscious and interactive universe. They show us the truths at the next level of development through psychological modeling and symbolic representation. At this point, just as the human has at every level of human development, the deconstruction of the old perception of reality begins to fall away, and a new perception takes place. And once again, with that comes a deconstruction of hierarchical values and a reconstruction of new hierarchical values based on those new truths. Anyone who remembers their teen years knows that this process, it can be incredibly difficult. It's very emotional. It's frightening. Nothing is certain in the deconstruction. You don't know what your life will look like on the other side of reconstruction. The experience at every level of development is riddled with pitfalls, traps, paradoxes, all of which have to be successfully navigated and reconciled. In antiquity, cultures all over the world, for those in antiquity, in cultures all over the world, for those who dared to venture beyond adulthood in this way, there were other rites of passage in the various mystery schools that were central to their particular religious experience. This is precisely what the humanities should teach and study. The experience of initiation into a new reality at every level of human development, adding context to what it means to be human. In antiquity, initiation into the personal knowledge of a conscious and interactive universe was taken so seriously that it was represented symbolically in sacred architecture. The ancient Egyptians practiced architectural compression to symbolically represent initiation into the mysteries. One would enter an Egyptian temple into a giant open-air hall, and as one progressed farther into the temple, the rooms would become smaller and smaller until finally one found themselves in a room that was so small that there was only space for yourself and the representation of the conscious interactive universe or God. It is through an initiatory framework that the ideas of high strangeness begin to break down into a much more cohesive, understandable, and digestible structure. Something as mysterious as crop circles begin to make sense. A farmer suddenly finds that there are shapes and structures in his field, shapes and structures within the fruits of his labor. Our human lives are very laborious with this constant tearing down and rebuilding of perceptions and hierarchical values. And as a result, the lives we lead are largely the fruit of our labor to that end. And so on one level, we see the phenomenon adding shape and structure to the fruit of our labor within a cornfield. But on another level, we see the phenomenon adding structure and context and shape to through initiatory experience to the pilgrimage that is human life. None of these ideas that I'm presenting here today are my own. They're very ancient ideas. They've been articulated in the writings of Joseph Campbell, Dr. Carl Jung, and Dr. Kazimierz Dabrowski. Dabrowski was a Polish psychologist. He's less well known than Jung or Campbell. and he wrote extensively about the deconstruction and reconstruction of the psyche in his theory of positive personality disintegration. It's in a book that he authored titled Personality Shaping Through Positive Disintegration. He had a lot to say about how this deconstruction, reconstruction shapes civilization or not. He personally survived World War II within the confines of a Nazi concentration camp as an undesirable intellectual. So he knew a little bit about that. And that concludes my talk. I was trying to go very fast because I wasn't sure how much time I had left.
I appreciate that.
Am I good on time?
You're good. We're a little bit light because we started off rather efficiently and quickly. So, but I
Oh, okay.
appreciate you
All right. Thank
you
you.
being conscious of that. No, thank you very much. As always, I enjoy your talk, and it often seems to me that we're all being initiated as a species in this moment through mounting catastrophes, ongoing technological development. Now,
Said you're feeling better, we're under the weather. Now the clouds passing through your sky. Now you see the sun, oh, it's shining down. Where it was dark, now there is light. Yeah, yeah, you're fighting through the shadows in your soul. Ooh, what used to be is not there anymore. Well, suddenly it's right, what used to be so wrong. The love that you put in is coming back so strong. And you never felt like this way before. Been drifting in the sea, you finally reached the shore. And it's all coming back to you again. Oh yeah, you can take away what has always been. No more weight on your shoulders. Walking light on your feet. Yeah, you say you're gonna make it. You're glad that you faced it. Your only way out is through. Those years you were trying, tears you were crying, just to get back to you. Finally made your way back to the sun. Oh yeah, you finally made your way back to the sun. Oh yeah. So much to say, can't get around over the sound. Finally found a way. Don't turn away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause even the night makes room for the day. You're never gonna stop, you're never gonna cease. You fell so many times, but got back off your knees. And now it's time to show them what you really mean. The dreams inside your heart, what you always believed. 'Cause suddenly it's right, what used to be so wrong. The love that you put in is coming back so strong. And you never felt like this way before. Been drifting in the sea, you finally reached the shore. Yeah, it's all coming back to you again. Oh yeah, you can't take